Our students vary, and this is a very diverse group because we get British students who come here and very often want to re-enter Polish, which is their heritage language, or what is sometimes called as the community language. And these are mostly students who forgot Polish or have some kind of a very small part of the language. They can communicate, they can speak, but they have a hard time writing or expressing themselves in a more elaborate way. So they come back here, they form a group which is described as false beginners, and in a sense they kind of revisit whatever is left, yes, in their minds of the Polish, which is the language they used to speak or they used to hear being spoken in their families and among the relatives. Right now we are at the University of Glasgow, and this is the School of Modern Languages and Cultures. Here within this particular school we have a very interesting program of Polish culture and Polish language. A much larger group are actually students who come to us because they met other Poles. They fall in love, they form some kind of a relationship, they are curious about people they meet, and they come here in order to understand the language better. The interesting question is what happens to those who graduate from our department. And we actually have quite a few very smart, very good students who, after graduating, decided to work and stay in Poland. And we normally do not think about this as an exchange. We only think about Poles coming here to study, or we think about British citizens who come here, or citizens of other countries who come here to study Polish. But there is also a significant group of people who fall in love with Poland and decide to go to Poland and live there. And we have a number of our graduates here who pursue quite a successful career in Poland and who are quite fulfilled and quite happy.
Jeśli chodzi o szkockie oświecenie, to mówimy o XIX wieku. Wtedy pracował chyba najważniejszą osobą z tego okresu to jest Adam Smith i jego teoria laissez-faire'izmu. Przede wszystkim na Uniwersytet w Edynburgu i w ogóle do Szkocji przyjeżdżali studenci, którzy byli sponsorowani w jakiś sposób przez rodziny polskie. Była to albo szlachta, albo właśnie wybitne jednostki, które znajdowały po prostu poparcie polskich rodzin. I między innymi był to Jędrzej Śniadecki. I to był chyba jeden z pierwszych polskich naukowców, którzy przyjechali studiować w Edynburgu. Polacy oprócz tego, że przyjechali tutaj studiować, byli również orędownikami sprawy polskiej. Polska oczywiście była wtedy pod zaborami i szukała wsparcia właściwie wszędzie, gdzie mogła. I Szkocja, przede wszystkim Edynburg, był takim centrum nauki i myśli politycznej, również myśli politycznej, więc to było świetne miejsce do promocji. Polscy studenci założyli też klub polski, pierwszy klub polski na Uniwersytecie Edynburskim, do którego należeli oni i oprócz tego jakby zwolennicy sprawy polskiej. Krystyn Zamojski przekazał prawie 200 pozycji w różnych językach, m.in. po polsku, angielsku i łacinie, do Society of Writers to Her Majesty's Signet. Ten księgozbiór był uzupełniony później przez Gotarda Sobańskiego i zebrany razem jako Biblioteka Polonika. Stowarzyszenie ten zbiór przekazało później do Biblioteki Narodowej, Szkockiej Biblioteki Narodowej i pod tą nazwą istnieje i można go nadal odwiedzić.
Maria Skłodowska-Curie was a Polish-born physicist and chemist who conducted pioneering research into radioactivity. So she was born Maria Skłodowska, and she became the more well-known Marie Curie when she married Pierre Curie when she moved to Paris for studies, when she studied her doctorate in Paris. But her major contribution was in the discovery of two elements, radium and polonium. And again, polonium was named after her native country, which highlights again her kind of Polish identity. Some have suggested that polonium may be the first chemical element to highlight a political question, because at the time, Poland's lack of independence and lack of sovereignty, she was quite an important issue to her, so the naming of that element is related to that political question in a sense. In the later part of her life, she was given many awards from different universities, lots of honorary doctorates around the world, and she was awarded the Cameron Prize by the University of Edinburgh in 1931.
Polish School of Medicine was established in 1941 in the middle of the Second World War, and in order to understand the origins and the significance of the Polish School of Medicine, we have to turn back in time to September 1939, when Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany from the one side and the Soviet Union from the other side. And thousands of Polish soldiers and civilian refugees managed to run away from occupied Poland, or were forcibly deported by the occupying powers, and in the end around 250,000 of them found themselves in Britain, and among them there were many university professors, medical specialists, and also pre-war medical students who had to interrupt their studies and research because of the outbreak of the war.
Nagle ni stąd, ni zowąd kazali mi jechać do Edynburga, zostawić wojsko i jechać do Edynburga. Jeszcze drugi kolega, Sędzimir, który był też medykiem wyrwowy, dwóch nas przyjechało do Edynburga i nam powiedzieli, że będziemy studiować dalej medycynę. Ja byłem bardzo zaskoczony, bo myślę, nigdy nie śniło, że ja będę dalej studiował.
The school was an autonomous Polish faculty, but it was also an example of international cooperation, because a lot of Scottish professors or lecturers, research assistants, laboratory assistants, servitors also took part in the school, and they were conducting lectures and examinations. Also, Polish students worked in Scottish departments and working on research projects.
Profesorowie angielscy, szkoccy byli bardzo przychylni i pomocni w stworzeniu wydziału. I w ten sposób powstał polski wydział lekarski. Tam, gdzie nie było polskich profesorów, tam byli angielscy. Jedyną trudność jedyna była to, że niektórzy Polacy nie mieli języka angielskiego. Także musiał być polski tłumacz. Z początku było tak, że była sytuacja, gdzie na jednej sali, wielkiej sali, byli z jednej strony Polacy, z drugiej strony Szkoci. I kto głośniej mówił, ten wygrywał.
So after the end of the Second World War, the school was gradually closing down, and new students were not accepted, but those who remained were allowed to finish their studies, and eventually the school was closed down in 1949. But because of political changes in Poland and the beginning of the communist regime, most of the students and former lecturers decided to remain in Britain or migrated further to North America, Australia, New Zealand, or even to British colonies in Asia and Africa.
Ja nie miałem ochoty wyjechać, tym bardziej, że mój brat, młodszy brat był tu ze mną i ja zdecydowałem, jak ja skończyłem dostałem dyplom i tak, zrobiłem także doktorat później. Utworzyłem, mi łatwiej było. I okazało się, że dobrze myślał. Ja nie pamiętam, kilkadziesiąt lat prowadziłem to.
Polish School of Medicine in Edinburgh proved to be a very successful venture in international academic cooperation in difficult times of the Second World War. And this unique institution inspired an opening of similar Polish-speaking university faculties at different British universities. So it was followed by the Polish Faculty of Law at the University of Oxford, Polish School of Architecture in Liverpool, Polish Veterinary Medicine Studies in Edinburgh, and many other similar institutions.
And obviously right now, since we are at the time when there is a huge debate regarding Scotland's independence, it's quite obvious that if Scotland becomes an independent country, Scotland will need diplomatic service people, and they will need people who have fluent knowledge of Polish in order to represent mutual interest. And it would be rather unfortunate to depend on the sources that come from England, and I think that Scotland definitely would like to have her own resources and people who can speak Polish and at the same time represent Scotland well.